This November's elections are the first in Indiana since the widespread introduction of chatbots, another name for generative artificial intelligence. Voters who want a quick profile of a candidate can, for the first time, ask a chatbot to scrape the internet and draft a report for them in seconds, potentially saving hours of individual research. Recenter Indiana has asked Google's chatbot, Bard, to create a summary about the Evansville mayor's race. As you know, we have not shared our questions with you in advance, but Recenter Indiana did provide your campaign with the AI-generated profile of you and your opponent. So the next few questions are about that profile and your reaction to it.
Sure.
The Bard chatbot told us, and I quote, Rascher is a former Vanderburgh County commissioner. Terry is a former city council member. As you know, both those statements are false. You have never held elective office, and Stephanie Terry is a current member of the Vanderburgh County Council. What was your reaction when you read that AI-generated profile?
Right. So I was very interested whenever you all sent that information over to me, and I was very surprised at some of the fallacies that came up, and then also the common themes that kept getting pulled from the chatbot, because, coming from a little bit of an education background, I was an adjunct faculty member at the University of Southern Indiana for several years. And so, of course, I remember reading the papers and checking for plagiarism and some of these different things. And I recently had a conversation with the chancellor at Ivy Tech about, ChatGPT and all of this new AI technology. And she was explaining to me the systems that they use to look for, some of the bot or AI language that could show up in potential, exam papers and such. Technology is great. I definitely think that there's ways to leverage it, but I think that the voters should be conscientious whenever they're reading some of these reviews that could have potentially been done by a bot. I have an open door policy. I would say if any of the voters here are curious and want to know more about me, they can always shoot me a message. They can reach out through Facebook, Instagram. They can even call me if they want.
The AI profile of the Evansville mayor's race also says, and I quote, Rascher is running on a platform of crime reduction, economic development, and infrastructure investment. Terry is running on a platform of affordable housing, education reform, and environmental protection. Is all that a fair characterization?
Not necessarily. I would say, in terms of myself, yes, we talked about public safety and infrastructure and economic growth and development. And I know my opponent has talked about quality of life initiatives, but, whenever I read that, it kind of looks like maybe Republican on one side and Democrat on the other, whereas I'm not sure if I've ever really heard that narrative from either one of us.
One more question based on the AI-generated summary about this campaign. We asked the Bard chatbot, how do the values of the candidates differ? In response to that question, the chatbot did not give us a concise overview it had in some other races. Instead, it gave us more details, some of which appear to attribute positions to the wrong candidate. And here's one example, and I quote, Terry believes that the best way to address infrastructure is to invest in public transportation and to make the city more walkable and bikeable. In our research, we found that Stephanie Terry wants, as she puts it, a city that works for everyone, but it was you who has spotlighted the importance of public transportation. Your website says, and I quote, our city needs a revitalized bus system to serve all our citizens. And our research has not turned up anything from either of you on walkability and bikeability, although just now I heard you refer to bike paths. So it's certainly possible that we missed something, but it's also possible that the chatbot is making stuff up. How does it look to you?
I would have to concur there with maybe making some stuff up. Now, in terms of walkability and bikeability, I was part of the mayor's task force years ago whenever we were looking at becoming a bike-friendly city and what that would take. At my time at Deaconess Hospital, I actually led the march there with being a bike-friendly employer. So I could see how maybe some bike stuff has come up reflection to my campaign from time to time based off of previous work. But I find it interesting that they took all of those attributes and kind of flipped them around with the component or the candidates.
Yes, I thought you might find that interesting. In fact, Resetter Indiana is profiling 3 mayor's races across Indiana this fall, and we asked Bard to profile all of them, and all of those profiles include glaring mistakes. What's your advice to voters for making sure the candidate information they get is reliable?
Sure. For me personally, I would say the best way would be to go out to my website, first and foremost, rascherformayor.com. And that's where you're going to see, my platform, which I call my playbook. My inner basketball coach couldn't let that go. So, you go out, you look at that, and then if there's something that really sparks your interest, reach out to the candidate, because I can guarantee you, whether it's here or Indianapolis or, Fort Wayne, wherever, you're going to find individuals that care about their community across the board, and they're going to want to take those phone calls. And I know I mentioned earlier, my phone number is on my website also. You can call me. I'm available, and I just want to make sure that I'm communicating my vision and my plans for Evansville, and that I can get your vote if you live here.